All right, let's dive deep into the world of Aristotle. Um, you've given us a ton of material to work with here, encyclopedia entries, in-depth studies of metaphysics, even a specialized essay on hylomorphism. So it's clear that you're ready to get serious about understanding this philosophical giant. So where should we start? What makes Aristotle so relevant? Why are his ideas still important all these centuries later?
What's really interesting about Aristotle is he wasn't just a philosopher. He was a true polymath, made significant contributions to logic, biology, physics, you name it, really a wide range of subjects. And unlike his teacher Plato, who often focused on abstract ideas, Aristotle really grounded his thinking in the real world, observations of the real world. He was like a precursor to the scientific method, centuries before it was, common practice.
So he was really all about combining thought with actually testing things out in the real world. That makes him a lot more relatable to me and to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who like to see the practical application of things. But where do we even begin with a thinker as multifaceted as Aristotle?
Well, his work on logic is a great place to start, I think. Aristotle is considered the father of formal logic, and he developed a system of reasoning based on syllogisms. And it's still used to this day. You've probably heard the classic example, all men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal.
Yeah, it seems so simple, yet it's this really powerful tool for, creating a sound argument. But Aristotle didn't stop at logic, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he grappled with some really big questions about the nature of reality itself.
Absolutely, yeah. He was really interested in what defines a thing. What makes a thing that thing? What makes it distinct? And he explored this through the concept of substance and form. So think of it this way. Imagine a house. The substance is the material, the wood, the brick, the concrete. The form is what makes it a house. The specific arrangement of those materials, the purpose they serve, the idea of house that it embodies.
So the form is kind of like the blueprint, the organizing principle, the thing that gives meaning to the raw materials. That's a pretty powerful concept if you think about it. But Aristotle took it even further with his theory of the four causes, right?
He did. He argued that, to really understand anything, you need to consider its four causes: material, formal, efficient, and final. Let's use the house analogy again. The material cause is the wood and brick, right? The formal cause is the architect's blueprint. The efficient cause is the builder who actually constructs it. And the final cause is the purpose of the house, right? To provide shelter, comfort, a place to call home.
That's so insightful. It makes you realize that even simple things have this rich history and interconnectedness. But how does this apply beyond houses? Could we use the four causes to understand, say, a work of art or even a social movement?
That's where it gets really interesting. You can apply the four causes to almost anything and unlock a deeper understanding. Take a painting, for example. The material cause is the paint and the canvas. The formal cause is the artist's vision, their technique. The efficient cause is the artists themselves, and the final cause could be to evoke emotion, challenge perspectives, or simply to capture beauty.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, revealing all of these factors that contributed to its existence. And speaking of revealing layers, Aristotle didn't shy away from the vastness of the universe either. He developed a model of the cosmos, didn't he?
Yeah. He developed a geocentric model of the cosmos, placing the Earth at the center, with other celestial bodies revolving around it. Of course, we know now that this isn't accurate, thanks to later astronomers like Copernicus and Galileo. But it's important to remember that Aristotle arrived at his conclusions through careful observation and reasoning. He used all of the knowledge that was available to him at the time.
It's a reminder that science is a process of discovery and refinement.
Yeah.
And even a quote-unquote wrong theory can be valuable if it's based on sound reasoning. But Aristotle wasn't content with just staring at the stars. He was also a keen observer of the natural world. He was a real forerunner of modern biology.
Absolutely. He was incredibly fascinated by living things, and especially animals. And his writings on biology are so detailed, so accurate. It really reveals his extensive knowledge of animal anatomy and behavior and reproduction. He classified hundreds of species, and he even made some groundbreaking observations about marine life, things like cephalopods.
Hold on. Did you say cephalopods?
Mm-hmm.
Like octopuses and squid? That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it seems like he was interested in all forms of life, not just the cute and cuddly ones. But let's not forget about his contributions to our understanding of human nature and society. I mean, famously, he called humans political animals.
Yeah, he did.
What did he mean by that?
Well, he recognized our inherent drive to live in communities and to participate in political life, and he believed that the city-state was the ideal form of political community, one that allowed for active citizenship and the pursuit of the common good.
So he saw political engagement as this really fundamental part of what it means to be human, a way to develop our virtues and to create a flourishing society.
Mhm.
That's a far cry from the cynical view of politics we often have today.
It is, yeah.
And that leads us to another really key aspect of Aristotle's, his ethics.
Right.
He believed that living a virtuous life was essential to happiness, or what he called eudaimonia, this state of flourishing and fulfillment. But what did he actually mean by virtue? How does it play out in our everyday lives?
Well, that's where his famous concept of the golden mean comes in.
Yes, the golden mean. I've heard that term before. But I'm not sure I fully grasp it. What does it mean?
Aristotle believed that virtue lies in finding the right balance, finding a balance between two extremes. For example, courage is a virtue that sits between cowardice, which is an excess of fear, and recklessness, which is a deficiency of fear.
So it's all about finding that that sweet spot, that middle ground in every aspect of life. That's a pretty tall order, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But it makes you think about how often we get caught up in extremes, whether it's our emotions, our behaviors, or even our opinions.
Absolutely, yeah. And Aristotle believed that by practicing virtue, by striving for this golden mean in all things, we can cultivate a more balanced, and fulfilling life, one that leads to true happiness, one that's more aligned with our potential as human beings. But we've only just scratched the surface here. There's so much more to explore.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Aristotle. Last time we covered a lot of ground, I think. We explored his ideas on logic, science, politics, and even his fascination with octopuses.
It's amazing, how much one person accomplished back then. Makes you kind of wonder what Aristotle would think of our world today.
Yeah, he probably would have a lot to say, especially about the ways that we communicate and persuade each other.
Which brings us to another fascinating area of his work, rhetoric.
Rhetoric. I mean, it's a word that gets kind of a bad rap, doesn't it? It's associated with manipulation, empty speeches. But for Aristotle, it was a much deeper and more meaningful concept, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. He saw rhetoric as a real science, as a way to effectively communicate truth and knowledge. It was about using language skillfully to persuade, to inform and inspire.
So it's more than just slick talking, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
more than just winning an argument.
Exactly.
It's about using language as a tool for understanding
Yes.
and for enlightenment.
Precisely. And Aristotle believed that rhetoric has three essential elements:
Okay.
logos, ethos, and pathos.
Those terms sound familiar, but could you break them down for us, just as a refresher?
Sure. Logos refers to the logical appeal of an argument, the facts, the evidence, and the reasoning used to, support a claim. Ethos is about the speaker's credibility and character, how trustworthy, and knowledgeable they appear to the audience. And then pathos refers to the emotional appeal, using language to evoke feelings, connect with the audience on a deeper level.
So a truly effective speaker, according to Aristotle, needs to kind of combine all three: the logic, the credibility, and the emotional intelligence.
That's right. He believed that mastering these three elements was essential for anyone who wanted to communicate effectively,
Oh, yeah.
whether they were a politician, a teacher, or even just a friend trying to offer advice.
It makes a lot of sense. It's
That's-
it's something that we can all try to apply in our own lives, right?
Yeah.
Whether we're giving a presentation at work, writing a persuasive email, or even having a difficult conversation with a loved one.
Absolutely. Aristotle's insights into rhetoric are truly timeless. They help us understand how language works, how to use it effectively, and how to be more persuasive in a way that's both ethical and impactful.
It's like having a secret weapon for communication.
Yeah.
But Aristotle didn't stop at analyzing how we speak and persuade. He also had a lot to say about art, and particularly tragedy. What was it about tragedy that captivated him so much?
Well, he saw tragedy as the highest form of art, capable of evoking these powerful emotions like pity and fear in the audience. He believed that experiencing these emotions through a well-crafted tragedy could lead to catharsis, a kind of emotional purging or release.
So it's almost like a form of therapy,
Mm.
but instead of talking to a therapist, you're watching a play.
In a way, yes. He believed that tragedy allows us to confront these difficult emotions and experiences in a safe environment.
Yeah.
It's controlled. By watching a character struggle with fate, betrayal, or loss, we can gain a deeper understanding of the human condition and our place in the world.
That's an interesting perspective. It makes you think about how art can be so much more than just, entertainment. It can be a way to process, emotions,
Yeah.
to explore complex ideas and maybe even connect with something larger than ourselves.
Absolutely. And Aristotle understood that power. He saw art as a way to imitate and understand reality, to explore the depths of, human experience, and ultimately to lead us to a greater understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
So we've talked a lot about Aristotle's big ideas, but I'm curious about how he arrived at these ideas. What was his process like?
Right.
Did he just sit around, thinking all day, or did he have a more structured approach?
Well, Aristotle was a firm believer in empirical observation and methodical investigation. He wasn't content to simply theorize.
Okay.
He wanted to gather evidence, test his ideas, and refine his understanding through direct experience.
So he was kind of a scientist at heart.
Very much so, yeah. And in fact, his approach, laid the groundwork for the scientific method, the same method we still use today. He really emphasized the importance of observation, classification, and, logical reasoning. And he applied this approach to everything that he studied, from the natural world to human behavior and even politics.
Speaking of the natural world, we mentioned earlier his fascination with cephalopods, which seems like a pretty niche area of study, for someone who tackled these grand philosophical questions.
Yeah, it might seem that way, but it actually reflects a key aspect of Aristotle's, approach to knowledge. He believed that to understand the whole, you need to carefully study the parts.
Okay.
He wasn't afraid to get down in the weeds, so to speak, to examine the details, and to let curiosity guide his investigations.
It's a reminder that even small, seemingly insignificant details can hold really valuable insights, and that a true pursuit of knowledge requires both a broad perspective and a willingness to dive deep into these specific areas of interest.
Yeah, and it's that combination of breadth and depth, that makes Aristotle's work so enduring. He wasn't afraid to tackle these big questions, but he also recognized the importance of, careful observation, meticulous research, and a willingness to constantly refine his understanding.
That's a powerful lesson for anyone who wants to learn and grow, whether they're a student, a researcher, or just someone who's curious about the world around them. But as we continue our deep dive into Aristotle's world, there's one concept we keep bumping up against.
Yeah.
Hylomorphism.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of his most fundamental ideas, right?
It is. It's essential for understanding his approach to metaphysics, biology, and even psychology.
We've touched on it briefly before, but I think it's time to really kind of unpack it.
Okay.
What exactly is hylomorphism, and why is it so important?
Well, hylomorphism is Aristotle's theory of how things are made up.
Yeah.
and how they exist. It's based on two key elements: matter and form.
Okay, I'm following so far. Matter is the stuff things are made of, right?
Right.
But what about form?
Think of form as the organizing principle, the blueprint, if you will, that gives matter its shape and purpose. So, for example, imagine a lump of clay. The clay itself is the matter, right?
Yeah.
The form is what makes it a vase, a sculpture, or a simple bowl. It's the shape, the function, the essence of the thing.
So matter is the potential, and form is what actualizes that potential, turning it into something specific, something recognizable.
Exactly. And Aristotle believed that this principle applies to everything, from inanimate objects to living beings.
But how does hylomorphism work with with living things? What's the form of a tree or a dog?
For Aristotle, the form of a living being is its soul, but it's not the soul as we typically understand it today, as something that's separate from the body and immortal.
Right.
For Aristotle, the soul is the vital principle. It's the organizing force that gives life and structure to the body.
So it's like the software that runs on the hardware of the body.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, it's the principle of animation, the force that drives growth, movement, perception, and even thought. And different types of living things have different types of souls, reflecting their level of complexity and their capabilities.
So a plant has a soul that's focused on um, growth and reproduction, while an animal has a soul that allows for sensation and movement, and then humans have a rational soul that lets us think and reason and make moral choices.
Precisely, and this concept of the soul as the form of the body, has far-reaching implications for Aristotle's ethics and politics and his overall understanding of human nature. But that's a conversation for another time.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Aristotle. It's really fascinating how all of his ideas, the matter and form, the soul, and even rhetoric, how are they all connected?
That's one of the things that makes Aristotle so fascinating. His thinking really forms a cohesive system where different ideas build upon and reinforce each other.
It's like a giant philosophical puzzle, and each piece fits perfectly.
Yeah.
But speaking of puzzles, I have to admit I'm still struggling a little bit with this concept of hylomorphism. How does this concept of matter and form apply to something as complex as a human being?
Yeah. Well, Aristotle believed that a human being, like everything else, is composed of matter and form. The matter is our physical body, the flesh and bones, that make up our physical existence.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the form? That's our soul, right?
Exactly. For Aristotle, the soul is the form of the body. It's what gives our body life and structure and purpose. It's what allows us to grow, to sense the world around us, to move and to think.
So it's not the soul as we usually understand it today.
Right.
Something separate, from the body, immortal.
Exactly. For Aristotle, the soul is inseparable from the body. It's it's the vital principle, the thing that animates and directs our physical existence.
What a fascinating way to think about it. So the soul isn't some ethereal entity floating around out there. It's connected to our physical body. Yeah. Shaping it, guiding its functions.
Precisely. And Aristotle even went further, suggesting that there are different types of souls, each with its own set of capability.
Right. Like plants having a soul focused on growth and nutrition.
Yeah.
And then animals have a soul that allows for sensation and movement. And then humans have this rational soul,
right,
that enables us to think, reason and even make moral choices.
Yes, that's what sets us apart from other living beings. It's what allows us to think abstractly, to reason, to make moral judgments, and to contemplate the meaning of our own existence.
So it's like we've got this extra layer of complexity that allows us to engage with the world, in a more profound way.
Exactly. And for Aristotle, this rational soul, it's what enables us to pursue virtue, to live a life of excellence, to strive for happiness, or what he called eudaimonia.
There's that, again, eudaimonia.
Yeah.
Seems to be, the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
The culmination of a life, well lived. But how do we actually achieve it? This state of flourishing.
Well, Aristotle believed that eudaimonia is achieved through living a life in accordance with reason, by cultivating our virtues, and by fulfilling, our potential as human beings.
But it's not just about individual happiness, though, is it? I mean, didn't Aristotle also, emphasize the importance of community, political engagement?
Absolutely, yeah. He famously said that, man is by nature a political animal. He believed that we are social creatures who, thrive in communities, and that participating in political life is essential for our well-being.
So it's not enough to just focus on our own, individual development. We also have this, responsibility to work towards the common good.
Exactly.
Work towards creating a just and flourishing society.
Exactly. For Aristotle, individual happiness is inextricably linked to the well-being of the community. We can't truly flourish in isolation. We need to engage with others, share in the responsibilities of citizenship, and work together towards common goals.
That's a powerful message, especially in today's world,
Yeah.
where individualism often seems to trump the common good.
Hmm.
It's a reminder that we are all interconnected, and our own happiness is dependent, at least in part, on the well-being of those around us.
Absolutely. And it brings us back to the idea of virtue. Aristotle believed that by cultivating virtues like justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom, we not only improve our own lives, but we also, contribute to the creation of a more just and virtuous society.
So it's like this, virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
By becoming better individuals, we can help create a better world.
Right.
And a better world, help support, flourishing individuals.
Exactly. That's the beauty of, Aristotle's philosophy. It's this holistic vision that connects individual ethics, to social and political life, emphasizing, personal development and collective responsibility.
It's been an incredible journey, exploring, the world of Aristotle. His ideas are so, rich, insightful, and surprisingly relevant, to our lives today.
It's a testament to his enduring genius, that his work continues to inspire and challenge us over 2,000 years later.
I couldn't agree more. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But this deep dive has definitely sparked a desire to learn more.
Yeah.
To keep exploring these the depths of Aristotle's thought, and to see how his wisdom can help us navigate the complexities of our modern world.
And that's really the goal of any deep dive, to ignite that curiosity, to deepen understanding, and to inspire further exploration.
Well, thank you so much for guiding us through this fascinating journey. I think Aristotle himself would be proud of the effort that you've put into understanding and sharing his work.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you to our listener for joining us on this intellectual adventure. We hope you found it as enriching and thought-provoking as we have.
Until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking knowledge, and keep striving to live a life of meaning and purpose. Goodbye for now.